So after watching the abysmal movie that was called M. Night Shyamalan's The Last Airbender, I decided that I should probably watch something Avatar related that's, actually good, so I can get the bad taste of that movie out of my mouth. So I decided on watching the new series, The Legend of Korra, in order to, forget about everything that movie brought me. And you're probably asking, well, why didn't you just, review the original show that the first movie was based off of? Which, trust me, is a good question. But I decided not to do that because, well, one, I haven't seen any of the episodes in a very long time, so it's kind of hard to do a whole review, just based on a few memories. And the second is because there's just a lot of ground to cover, in order to actually review that and get it, all the credit that's worth. So you're going to have to wait on that review for, I guess, a while until I get all the DVDs and, I figure out how to review that whole series. With that said, let's just review the series sequel, The Legend of Korra. Now, this show is very, very good. I'm not gonna lie, I really love this series. I don't love it as much as I do the original show, just from some of the memories I have about it, but then again, I haven't seen it, so I'm not sure, but, this show is very, very well done, very, very good, and it's a great sequel to the original show. But some people seem to actually not like it as much as the original, and some people seem to say that, it's not as, it's not better than the original, which they definitely don't try to do that. They definitely just don't, go out of their way and say, oh, we're going to make this better than the original, and they just fail completely. But there are a few aspects of this show that are actually a little bit better than the original. One is the animation. I know you're probably saying, well, don't rag on the original show for its animation in the beginning because, it didn't really start out, its animation great. But it did get progressively better the original show. But the animation starting out here looks beautifully amazing. Like, half the stuff that you see that's 2D animated looks 3D. And when you find out that it's actually just 2D animation, you go, oh my god, that's beautiful. And just the way the city looks is just beautiful. And it looks more Japanese animated, anime than the other show did. Which it's not. It's by, American animators. So there you go. But that was one thing that I thought was better than the original series. The other thing I thought was better than the original series was the tone, the dark tone, which is one thing that the creators actually did go off and say, it's gonna be darker, than the original show, which is one thing that they said, the first thing they said when they started doing this show. And anytime someone says that, I'm like, yeah, bullshit. It's gonna be the exact same tone, no difference or anything like that. It's just going to be the exact same thing. Examples like this are like something like Transformers 3, but, or Transformers 2. But, tone is actually, they completely kept their promise, is way more darker and way more, grittier than the original series. The original series, it could get dark at some points, but not as much as this. The last 6 episodes, are really dark and gritty, and they're more adult than they are, a kid's show. So I really do like that. But here's a few things I didn't like, and it's not really that, I hated them, which is that, there was a few things in there that I just did not really like. One is the characters. The main character we have is the Avatar Korra, who's the second Avatar, well, the next Avatar after Aang, and I didn't really like this character because she didn't really act like the Avatar that much. She just acted like, a whiny, spoiled, teenage brat that, is getting upset because she didn't get, her right, sports car or whatever, which, I do understand that she is a teenager, and that's how teenager acts. She's hot-headed, and, she's always like that. But isn't the Avatar supposed to be, like, the embodiment of all of the Earth's spirits? Like, isn't she supposed to be, like, peaceful and stuff like that, like Aang was, and some of the Avatars from what we've seen were like that. But this character was just completely, like a spoiled brat. Like, she always thought she was right. She's a completely hot-headed, arrogant person, and she would go to, and by the way, she's always being saved. The Avatar, that's pretty bad when you're the Avatar and you need to be saved on several occasions. Just shame. Just terrible. Like, just shame on you, Avatar Korra. Shame. And she gets her, bending back on, like, a freaking, like, she gets basically everything, oh, you get your bending taken away? Okay, I'll just give it back, oh, you got kidnapped by someone? Okay, we'll just go save you, even though you're the freaking Avatar, you idiot. So I thought her character was a little bit, kind of stupid. The fact that she's got all these powers, and yet she, needs to be saved on many occasions, and she just acts way too much like a teenager, not much like the Avatar. Other characters that we have are Asami Sato, and this character was way better than the Avatar, period. She, had more, badass electro glove than the Avatar had in all her bending moves. She could kick everyone's ass, without a doubt. And for a while, I actually thought she was a Mon, because she had these badass fighting moves and stuff, and maybe she was dating Mako to get to the Avatar. But no, let's just make Amon some guy we never heard or seen from in the last, episode of the season. Yeah, that's smart. Another character that we have is Mako, who a lot of people are calling him a man whore, which I do understand, because, oh, I'm going to love Sami, no, I'm going to love Korra, that. But, I was expecting that completely, because that's the only reason why this character, Asami, was actually in this show, because she's a completely yet badass, yet pointless character in the show entirely. If you took her character out, replaced her with someone else, and maybe teamed her up, had him, date, with Bolin, that would have made more sense. But no, it's just make her a character that gets pissed off because she gets dumped, for the Avatar. I was expecting that completely. So don't blame, a made-up character for that. Blame shitty writers and the creators for writing that character completely shitty and having a pointless character in there. So that's pointless. The other character, of course, is Bolin, who is the brother of, Mako. And I actually really like this character because he really reminded me about Sokka from the original show. But he didn't really have that warrior feel to him, which I liked because that made him feel original and not just a rehash of the other characters. Now, this video will be in 2 parts because I do really want to talk about the season finale. That just deserves a whole review in itself. And I will get into more characters, and I will get into that whole season finale, because there's just a lot of stuff to talk about. So tune in, tune in to part 2 to find out what I thought about the season finale, as well as some other characters. So until then, see you soon, and stay tuned for part 2. See ya.